Testing my skills?
Well, I just figure you're here, so we'll up the production value of the video. Hey, look what I got. So I ran out of gas. These stupid safety things. It's so hard to get it into...
Yeah, it spills everywhere.
Oh.
Note to self, fix gas gauge. Low car problems.
Need a photographer.
I'll send you my resume.
Welcome back to the infamous project, guys. It is 2 weeks since I had a helping hand. Right here behind me.
Howdy, I'm back.
Mr. Lewis is back, and this is a project we were trying to tackle when he was here the last time, but we got caught up in John's car with the head gasket and everything else, cooling issues. But he's back, and it is time. Finally, it is time, and I'm really excited for this. I've been excited since QA1 has blessed me with all of these amazing parts, and that was at the end of last year. So there's some really, really cool stuff in these boxes, and the Stalkervert is in desperate need of a suspension upgrade because it is, I think there may be factory shocks in the back that are blown out. The quads were removed when I went to the 18-inch Borebettes because I was just trying to get them on there. The front are actually KSD notches. Mr. Built versus Bots, I'm not going to say his old name. His old Racelands that were in his 93 notch. Again, that was a temporary outfit from some cut springs that I had in it. And this car has gone through iteration of suspension after iteration. The rear is actually an adjustable spring perch, and we'll get into that when we start doing some teardown of kind of all of these crazy suspension iterations the car's gone through. And it'll be interesting to see how this QA1 stuff rides. Now, in my mind, and I don't know about everybody else, but you think QA1, you think like race car. So the fact that we're going to be putting all of this stuff on a slammed street car, I'm very curious to see how it's going to ride and how it's going to perform, and if I'm going to be able to get the same stance. That's going to be the biggest thing / potentially my concern, because I do not want to sacrifice the way the car looks. I believe that ride will only improve, but let's see how low QA1 suspension can go and how much it can improve things, right? Because we're doing sway bars, we're doing tubular K-member, updating the steering rack. I really need to fix the power steering pulley, and that's not a joke. You know, the Vortec makes lots of noise, but the power steering pump also makes quite a bit as well. So between all those things, this car should be completely transformed. So stick around and let's see what happens. Actually, you know what?
What?
Convertibles were in luck. You can use the rockers because they're reinforced. You know what I mean?
Okay. I know what you mean. I just never done it.
Yeah. I think we'll be.
But this car was all original when I got it.
Yeah.
There you go. That's scary height.
Oh yeah, right on the sway bar.
You could bend that shit down.
Actually, I have another one of these that I've cleaned up. Even this one's right. Look at this.
Yep.
Whoops. That there's ground clearance, folks. Well, in other ways, it's almost like a belly pan. In fact, you could make like a skid plate with this. You could weld like reinforce, get a stronger one. That way you could just ride. I don't know if this is...
It's bent up a little bit.
Yeah, it's bent up.
Just a little. Pry bar will fix that.
Low life stuff. This is probably the first time the underside of this car has ever been filmed or shared. Oh yeah, look at this. That's the spark thrower. I got a couple leaks here and there. There we go. Look at this. We'll get the rear springs out. No problem. There you go. That is a factory coil. Well, half of one. That's it, guys. That was, I should almost go get a factory spring to show you guys the difference. What's this? Those are fronts.
Those white ones are rears.
Yeah, but those are these are lowering ones. So those are Godspeed lowering ones. Actually, that's pretty close. A little bit lower. Well, yeah, guys, so this is actually the second time that I did something like this. The first time was actually on that white notch over there, and I took a rear adjustable coil perch like this out of an E36 BMW, and pretty straightforward. It's open on the top here, so big long bolt right through the bottom side. These ones actually welded a washer to reinforce things, but yeah, this allowed to have adjustability, and actually the lower control arms have been boxed up as well. So a couple little old school tricks on this car that I've forgotten about. You can see all the impacts of the spring getting out of place sometimes and kind of massaging the metal. This is massaged metal to clear the 285 on the Borbette. And yeah, factory shock. Let me tell you, they are not in good shape. We will see that firsthand when we remove them. Self-clearancing on the rear axle on the exhaust. Another very common low problem. The old hose clamp trick to keep your exhaust in place. Man, these are kind of getting ratty.
Are those still the original?
These are the ones. Very important fact about this car, guys. This is how I met Lewis, this car. So if you haven't watched the video, way back in the year 2000, early 2000s, he had this car on the corral, and that's how we met. And he says that's how I never got out of his life since. So it's actually kind of a fun project that we're working on the car together today. You know, I've bought this car back twice after selling it, and the first buyback, we actually both bought it back. We split on it, and we drove this car in Mustangs across America for the 50th anniversary, and that's actually crazy to think it's the 60th anniversary this year. So this is like, yeah, a 10-year let's work on the Stalkervert reunion. So that's kind of, I guess, a quick little glance at the underside. You can see those race lands in the front, and this is how much I raised the car up in the front for Foxtoberfest. This was cranked all the way down, and I did this, and unfortunately I didn't win best stance, Brent, but he kind of made up for it with my Cut Coil King award. So we'll let that slide. And look at this, we still have an isolator stuck here. That's fun. There's one on the other side. Oh, look at that. Boom.
Damn, I'm surprised those stayed on.
I know. Well, got our FL1A on there, and you can see our wire tuck, no inner fender. Just rolling as is. So, oh man, that sway bar bushing is. So this is probably going to represent how all of the suspension is, guys. Everything on this car is pretty damn tired. Well, the rack doesn't look bad. Tie rods don't look bad.
It's not even wet.
I know. The only thing is this line is pinched. And I don't know how that that's probably, in fact, that could be why the power steering pump's whining at times. It's probably struggling to pass fluid through. I'd be surprised if there's even fluid going through that.
You got another one?
There's a line on there. If it's shaped the same though. And the problem is they have like a special end. Look at that one, doesn't even, looks cocked a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have to look at that when we get that off. We'll open some boxes, figure out our plan of attack, because there is a K-member involved, which means we're gonna have to suspend the motor. So we'll decide whether we start with the front or the rear. Nope, sexual pun intended. Okay, everything is laid out. We've gone through all the parts that we have, and in fact, I've got the packing slip here, so if you guys want to hear the list, we have high travel springs, coilover conversion kit, we got the wrench, spanner, ratchet drive, caster camber plate kit, rear coilover mount kit, springs for the rear, sway bar kit front, sway bar kit rear, trailing arms lower, trailing arms upper adjustable, K-member Mustang, without engine mounts. Oh, I don't like the sounds of that. I think we're starting on the rear. Control arm kit lower, street perform, bump steer kit aluminum, shock mod piggyback, so that's the rear shocks, tool spring seat, and miscellaneous stuff. And we got a lot of stickers, like a lot. Every box came with a sticker. So just to kind of give you guys a sneak peek, if you will, here's some of the rear stuff, and this is probably what I'm most excited for. External reservoired rear coilovers, right? So here's the springs. A little concerned unless they're going to compress down a lot. Again, it is coilover, right? So it's not going in between the lower control arm and stuff. So maybe it'll go down low enough. If it doesn't go down low enough, then the solution is quite easy. Different set of springs, right? But we're going to put them into the test. We're going to see how low that can go. K-member, control arms, rear sway bar, front springs, caster camber plates. Again, very pretty, very lightweight. This is for the tie rod ends, part of the bump steer kit, which is in there. Hardware. The rack did not come. That was separate. Yeah, I didn't open these. Oh, do that right now, real time. There are the front coilovers. All right. These do not have external reservoirs. That'd be cool to see at some point. But yeah, it looks like we can thread this down into the housing. So I have a feeling we are going to be able to achieve some low. But in a foxbody, getting the front low actually isn't that challenging. The challenging thing in a fox is getting the rear down, right? So anyways, that's it. Based on the fact we don't have engine mounts, that's going to be, I can get those from Summit. If I order those today, they should be here tomorrow. So yeah, that's going to be an important thing to grab ASAP since we don't have them. And if you guys are wondering, this is the same K-member that's in Chuck's car. Engine mounts bolt onto here. And these K-members from QA1 are universal. So that means you can buy a plate that goes here so that you can put a Coyote in here. You can buy a plate so that you can put a LS in here, or a your traditional small block Ford, right? I don't know if they have plates for the Godzilla yet. I hope they do that soon, so that way there's an option, a black option, if you will, because the Godzilla option, the only one that's out right now, I believe, is Team Z, and Team Z is that hammer tone powder coat, which I can't say I'm a huge fan of that look. So I much rather have something clean, simple, and black, such as this. So anyways, guys, we are going to start ripping some stuff apart. We got to get the wheels off. We're going to have to get the rear shocks out. The springs are already removed. Rear sway bar. Get the lower control arms out. It's nothing, it's not rocket science or rocket appliances. And I am amazed I still have this dirt collector on this car. This is going to come off. More weight reduction. And our plan of attack is going to be, you know, you do one thing at a time. And is this loose? Dude, my lower control arm bolt's loose. Look at that.
Good thing we're taking it off.
That one seems like it's still, whatever. Car was so low, it wasn't going anywhere. That's the way I see it. I didn't even install this one. I blame Chuck.
Shop dad.
Yeah, shop dad, you're slacking. We just found out. Is yeah, that's that wasn't me. Wheels are off. And now, guess we can do the sway bar. Let's take these off. And we're gonna do one control arm at a time. And that's gonna make our life easier. And then the rear coilovers probably be the last thing to do. Do have a jack post right there. So that'll help keep stuff in position for us. And hopefully things go pretty straightforward. Cut that tie wrap off. See, this would have been, that's why that bolt looks just like that, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that would have been that side.
Mr. Salt.
All right, sway bar out. Gotta cut that tie wrap off with an emergency brake. There, guys, you can see jack post. And there's barely any weight on that, just for your reference, and that bolt on this side has already come out with ease. So that's why you want to do one at a time, so you can keep all your holes centered so you don't run into issues.
There's a joke there.
What, centering your hole? Look at that. Perfect. Should be able to knock that right out of there. Just like that. Yeah, it's all beefed up. It's a nice arm. So, I'm gonna go over here, grab one of these. All right, get our relevant hardware. We'll get our collar, sleeve, press through the bushings. There's lubrication in here as well. You can see by Energy Suspension. Formula 5 pre-lube. And there's lots of jokes with suspension. Lube and lining up holes, front, rear. So we'll get this all ready, get our hardware ready, get this bolted in place. And I need to find the uppers. I just remembered, well, I didn't remember, the instructions helped me remember, but if we actually look at all these sleeves, You can see how this one has a larger inner diameter than this one. Or sorry, no it doesn't, than that one. There we go. So apparently different years had different diameters. So I think SN95s, I need to read the instructions, but larger bolts through larger holes that are actually going through the body of the car, you know, down through your torque boxes and through the brackets on your rear diff, versus these smaller guys. So you are going to have spare parts when you put this together. So again, even in here, it's probably going to have, yeah, that one's thicker.
79 to
or
98
that's thicker.
Is a small hole. 99 to 04 is the big hole.
Oh, so like new edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New edge is the big one.
Yeah. So this would be new edge. We will not be using these. You could actually, if you wanted to go beefier, you would just have to drill out your, you know, the holes in your torque boxes and everything else so that you can actually get the big bolts through.
That's what these are.
I think if you wanted to do a factory sway bar, so they give you, because you don't have the speed nuts anymore, so they probably give you these.
Yeah.
So that, all right, so you wouldn't have these anymore. So it gives something for you to bolt your factory sway bar bolts into when you use these guys. So we're going to put some of this around the outside of the sleeves here, press them through the bushings. We got our hardware, and we'll be able to get our first lower control arm installed. Say that carrier bushing is a little shock, guys. It literally just came out on its own, which is not a good sign. Look at those bushings. Low life and miles. There we go. This is easier than I thought it would be to remove. We just punched out the center sleeve in the vise since it was already out. The other one we'll do in the car, according to the instructions. Yeah, unless it comes out the way that this one did. But false alarm on needing parts, because we're actually supplied everything that we need in order to rebuild all of the bushings in the rear so that we can get these fancy control arms installed. So Lewis is just cleaning up the actual steel sleeve, and we'll do the same thing, pre-lube those guys up and get the metal sleeves pushed through, and we'll see if we got to pound it back into the differential or use, I do have the tool, the Maximum Motorsport tool, but that's crazy that it actually wiggled itself out of there. That's a first for me. Maybe from the lowness. I'm going to blame not running quad shocks, guys. Allowing the diff to do more maneuvering. I'll come up with whatever reason that I can to say you should run quad shocks. Although I might not be able to because of the 10-inch bore bets, but we'll see. I'm going to try to get them back in here. You can see this shock's blown out. It's all wet. This one might still be holding on. There we go. All right. Pre-lube. There, wipe it on the face. Put the lube on the face.
He's inside that one, okay? I think he needs it.
Well, this must be it. This is a thrust bushing. The thinner doesn't say which way to put it. Kind of be weird to put it that way. I think I think we should. Oh, is that fucking brake thing in the way? It is. You're gonna have to bend that a little bit or unbolt it. Like that? Sure.
Looks like the picture.
Yeah. So it's after lunchtime here, and while you weren't looking, we went ahead and installed this diff cover, and it's a no name, no brand that I got off of Amazon for like 90 bucks. And if I can find the link, I'll post it up. If not, I bought these a while ago. I saw them for like 90 bucks a piece, and I bought like 5 of them. So threw this on just for the ease of, well, it's been a while, probably since when I put the 355s in, which probably would have been like 2004, 2005. So 20 years since I bet this has been opened up. And now we have a proper fill plug here and a drain plug down here. So that's just a kind of nice to have, completely unrelated to what we're doing. But with that said, we got the lower control arms in, we got the upper control arms in, and now we'll be loosening off the rear shocks and getting the rear coilovers ready to get installed. Now everything is just loosely put into place. We haven't torqued anything down yet. It's all just kind of right there for the sake of making sure that everything lines up and fits. And you'll notice we didn't struggle getting any of the bolts and anything else through by doing one control arm at a time. Right? So that way, if you pulled both these off at the same time, you'd be fighting more trying to get your diff in the right position in order to get everything into place. But very happy that we had everything that we needed for the carrier bushings here, and they ultimately got pretty much rebuilt, which is great. And these settings on the uppers are factory positioned or factory set out of the box, which is very convenient. And then if we need to mess with the pinion angle, and it tells you how to do it in the instructions, which is actually a nice thing. For the car being so low, it'll be nice to actually correct the pinion angle however it needs to be. So let's get these shocks off and those super cool looking coilovers over there installed. Old school boom boom. Get it in there, like so. Oh, that's tighty. So usually you do the reach around like so. Unos. Actually work a little bit. Okay, not very well. The other one, not so much. There we go. Low and slow. Look at that, startup and user documents. This is like a fancy gift box. Oh, you get orientation. Oh, operation. It'd be funny if you got oriented. Indexable 5 position eyelet. Spherical bearing mounts. Spring seat nut. So that's going to go on first. More stickers. We're going to do a sticker count. Set screw. If installing a bump stop. Haha, yeah, right. Bump stop or no stop. Low speed bleed adjustments. Oh man. Might have to do a whole video just on how these work. Because look at this. They have high speed, low speed, drag racing tuning, and street tuning. excessive body roll, too firm. Oh, so this is like almost like a troubleshooting. Improve handling, aggressive handling, drag racing, nice ride and handling. Oh, what's this? Peak velocity curve. Things are always impressive when they have a graph like that. Must mean they're good. All right, well, let's get them installed and then we'll worry about how we set them up after. That's what I say. Can be indexed to suit the application by removing the 5 8/32 by 3/8 screws. Is that like this shit? Or this? You see, oh, that. You take these out to rotate that how you need it. So if you need this position somewhere else out of the way, you can rotate that whole assembly.
Does this end up at the top or under the bottom?
That's going to be on the bottom, I think.
So kind of like this, because the wheel would be here.
Yeah.
You go with that orient. Oh. Yeah, that would hit the diff. Maybe that's what that bracket's for.
Okay, we're about to find out.
Canadian winners.
What's that?
Canadian winners.
Shock belt was on tighter than the controller. Okay guys, so here is the situation that we're in right now. You can see we are not threaded all the way down to the bottom, and the reason for that is the spring on the rear caliper for the emergency brake. So if we actually have this positioned where it's going to be, right, you can see that there's no way for that bottom ring to fit over any further, and this is kind of like the sweet spot. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try this, okay? And lower the car down and see where it sits. And then from there, if, all right, it looks like it needs to come down about that much more, then this needs to leave. If it looks like we're gonna need more than this to achieve the ride height that we need, then our problems are bigger than just this here. So the question at that point would be, is there a shorter spring available? All right, which there's a 9-10, and this is a 10-inch spring. So, you know, it'll be a phone call to QA1 to figure out if there's something that's shorter. Otherwise, we would need something here that would drop this guy down further, which could help the situation. Like if we could get this guy dropped down below this spring, I feel like this might end up rubbing a little bit on the coil here, but that might alleviate the problem. But we're not going to know until we try. So this is one of those things of, you know, you never commit and tighten everything down. You keep things loose and, right, try, measure, try again, measure again, before you cut, or in this case, do a final bolt down. So we're gonna get the other side, see how it fits over there, and then get the wheels on and lower the car down. We'll see what happens. Okay, so you guys can see this. Wheel well to GoPro center, or wheel well to GoPro. Wheel well to center of the axle is about 14 inches, okay? The barbette is only about 10 and change, and this is where we're at. So definitely 2 inches, probably 2.5. Needs to be 2.5 inches lower to be where we were before. And these are spun up an inch. So there's an inch of more low. if this would clear that. However, where's the other 1.5 inches going to come from? So it's either a shorter spring, if there is a 9-inch spring. So I'm going to call QA1. If they have a 9-inch spring, that's going to give us 1 inch. Then we're going to have 1 inch here. And then we just need 1/2 inch. So can this be modified to be down more? That would do it. Or I don't think the top can be modified at all. So this might be a stay tuned type video, because this isn't going to do it. I refuse to drive this high off the ground. Unacceptable. So we need to go from where the spring is currently sitting down to here. Right? And if we actually did get everything down that low, it would probably clear this, and then our e-brake wouldn't be an issue. To be continued.